Coach Fred Calgill from WLKY. The schedule came out today, finally. I mean, we see what you're going to play starting with Western Kentucky. Have you seen it? What are your thoughts about starting with Western, and state team? And does it give you a little more excitement and traction that this might really happen?
Yeah, man, this is it's awesome. It's awesome to finally actually see, teams with actual dates. So it excites you a whole lot to understand that you're playing Western Kentucky come September the 2nd. And, our guys are excited. They saw the schedule before those guys went out there to practice. So it added a little extra oomph, those guys, and, being able to play Miami at home the very next game. The guys are excited and ready to go prepare for not only just fall camp, but get ready to start preparing for Western Kentucky.
Bryan,
Russ
Jody,
Cardinals today. Go ahead, Jody. Go ahead.
Bryan, it's Jody Dillon with Cardinal Authority. What has you talked about the oomph today with the schedule through 3 days? What's the energy been like? We talked to you last week about earlier this week about how the guys, and you knew they wanted to be back out there. Now that they're out there, what's the atmosphere been like?
Oh, it's been awesome. I mean, it's been awesome. The main thing, man, is just getting back out there with those guys. I mean, I told the defensive guys the first team meeting we had in person, it was just it was great just to be right there in the exact same room with those guys and talking ball. It was awesome. So I think, being away from the game a little bit, and not doing the things that you normally do, whether it's spring practice or even in the summertime doing some of the things that we would normally have done with POPs and things of that nature. It's just been great, man, to just be out there competing each and every day. The guys are just loving it, man, and eating it up. And it's competition on both sides like no other. And we're excited, just to continue to try to get better each and every day.
Bryan,
hey, Bryan,
just follow up what Fred was asking. You like opening with a non-conference opponent rather than jumping right into conference games like the original schedule had? And secondly, does anything jump out at you when you look at that schedule?
Well, when you look at, being able to answer your first portion of the question, playing a West Kentucky team, a non-conference opponent, yes, it does. We're excited about being able to play a non-conference game before we get into that conference play, And but West Kentucky is not a pushover. Those guys were 9-4 this past season. Had a really, really good defensive team as well as offensively. To go 9-4 in the Conference USA, that's really good. And they're returning most of those guys that's coming back from this past season. So we got our hands full with West Kentucky. But then, to answer your second portion of the question, just being able to play the teams that it was weird as far as any coach, I think, when you got 3 opening opponents in the ACC that was not on your schedule, that you're not game planning for in the summertime or during the spring. Now you gotta bust it, as far as trying to get things broken down and trying to get some type of scouting report on these guys, so we can try to work on them here in the next couple of weeks.
Thanks.
Bryan, Cameron from the Courier-Journal, kind of off that, like you guys were preparing for NC State to open the season for much of the offseason. Is it make it a little easier now that things have changed, that it's a team and you played last year, or does that not matter? You think you kind of have to start over fresh anyway?
Well, no, I think it doesn't matter to a certain extent, because we played West Kentucky last year, and Coach Helton will continue to run the same offense, so being able to prepare for those guys, maybe, as far as, trying to dig down and trying to find, okay, well, where do they come from? Let's try to find that film if they're a different coordinator, but it's not. So that's a little bit easier. The second game is just a little bit tougher just because it's Miami. We'll have one game on those guys before we play them. They'll play UAB before we play those guys. Different coordinator, so we have to go back and, try to look at some SMU film, some Auburn film, just trying to, find out what it is that he actually wants to do with the talent and the roster that he has in Miami. I'm pretty sure they'll run that quarterback. He's a heck of a quarterback, coming from Houston. So I'm pretty sure we see a lot of quarterback run game.
WLKY, when your team, your cards, and you guys and the staff saw the 29 positive tests in the fall sports, does that help you motivate your guys to stay on the reservation, so to speak? I mean, especially given how they've got this.
Absolutely, and that's what we tell our guys. Like, listen, man, continue to do the things that we've been doing and stressing the social distancing, making sure that they wear their mask in here every single day, only to take it off while they're eating, and continue out there in practice, making sure they wear their mask during practice, or their sleeve or whatever it's called. I think that's no doubt is a positive for us. That we don't have any guys right now positive. And that they're doing the right thing as far as social distancing. And that's what we need in order to try to combat this virus, as well as, continue to try to play the game of football this season.
Bryan, this is Kent with WHAS 11. There's several Friday night games on your all schedule this year. Do you think that gets guys a little bit more excited to be able to play under those kind of lights on what they used to play on?
Oh, yeah, I really do. I really do. And especially, with a couple of those Friday nights, being in a couple of open weeks before that. And that'll help, and not just going to a Friday night game on a short week. So, but yeah, I think so. Anytime the guys play under the lights, I think it's a little bit extra motivation that they're thinking, hey, it's just like high school, going back to their Friday night days. And I think they'll be excited for those Friday night games we have, those three.
Bryan, Coach, again. What have you accomplished in the first 3 days of fall camp? And I know it's early, but has anybody kind of stood out to you?
Man, the first thing I think we've accomplished in the first 3 days is competition. I mean, we're competing our butts off, on both sides of the ball. But defensively, I think that's the one thing I see. Guys are competing and punching the ball. I mean, they're competing their butts off, man, and that's what we look for. A little bit different, fall camp from this year to last year. But we got a lot of guys competing in multiple spots. You look up front, Jared Goldwire is doing an unbelievable job up front. As well as Tavares, Peterson. He's being a leader, out there on the football field and having an outstanding camp so far these first 3 days. And that's what we need for those guys up front to be able to, stop the run as well as be able to rush the passer and set edges. And the inside backers are doing a phenomenal. Those two guys are, I think they'll be all ACC guys, hopefully, and if they stay healthy. But Dorian and CJ are doing phenomenal and getting downhill, playing the pass. But they're doing great for us and making calls and making checks. The outside guys as well with Rajay and Nick Okeke is having an unbelievable camp. He looks totally different. And I think just being the second year in the system is helping. And that's what you see. You see a lot of confidence in these guys to be able to make some plays. And right now they're making them. Secondary-wise, Russ Yeast, it's great to be able to see him back out there. I mean, the injury that he had, the adversity he had to go through, with the surgeries and things of that nature. He's battled back through it and is looking about 90-95% right now, but that's better than some folks 100%. And that's what we're excited about. Russ and Isaiah Hayes he is making some plays. He is really making some plays back there in that secondary, and as sharp as a tool. He is doing a great job getting us in and out of our checks and playing ball. And on the outside at corner, Chandler Jones, a veteran corner, making some plays. Marlon, character as well. And Anthony Johnson, he's doing good. He's, battling a couple of things right now. But, the bright spot out of that group, right now is Cottrell Clark. He's had him, a couple of interceptions within the first couple of days. A lot of people use. But, he's a quick corner that loves to compete and loves to be tight coverage, as well as the rest of those guys. They're continue to compete, those freshmen as well.
Coach Jagger here, ESPN Louisville. One word that's been used a lot from the coaching staff since, obviously last season's been depth, how to address depth, going out there, getting guys that can help with that. And one thing you guys were really concerned with throughout the year last year was kind of the fall off after the ones and the twos on the depth chart, like throughout the season. Do you expect that to be an issue this year, or is it just too early to tell?
Well, I think a little bit too early to tell, because we have a lot of young guys that are in our 2 deep right now. And So if you're talking about experience, then yes, we'll have some guys that's a little bit inexperienced after that first group, and a little bit of the second group. Some of the guys are inexperienced. But I think as the season continues to progress, I think we have a lot of guys that will be able to help to be able to continue to build that depth. But like I told you guys the other day, I think, coming up next year, with that 21 class, I think we'll have the depth exactly where we need it to be on all three levels. But those guys are just working and studying their butts off to get in that playbook to be able to help, especially young group. And I think we'll be okay. We just got to make sure we keep those guys healthy and continue to do things right with this COVID stuff.
All right, Coach, we'll wrap it up with that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.
Anthony, Fred Cowgill from WLKY. When you heard that a number of fall student athletes tested positive for the virus, and there were 29 of them, and the 4 sports take pause, did you guys hear about that? And does that sort of give you pause and kind of get your arms around that this is real and you've got to really be careful with this thing or else it could happen to you too?
Yes, we hear about that, and I feel like our training staff does a really good job of just trying to contain us and keep us from exposure. At the end of the day, it's on us to, follow the precautions that we take each and every day, come to the stadium, wear our masks, do the right things that they're telling us, and making sure that we're not hanging out with outside people outside when we go home. That's the big thing.
Anthony, Russ Brown with Kentucky today. What did you and some of your teammates think of the new schedule?
The new schedule is definitely it's different, but we actually like it. We like it for the fact that we get to compete against an ACC opponent almost every week, and we just get to go out and showcase how really good we are. Looking forward to the competition.
Hey, Anthony, this is John Lewis at WDRB. What do you think about playing Western to start off and then going into that ACC schedule?
I think that'll be a really good game. We're not going to take Western lightly. They're a very good football team. It'll give us opportunity to see what we can do and then get ready to open up an ACC play.
Anthony, Michael McCammon from Cardinal Authority here. Coach Brown talked about Russ being about 90-95% in that secondary. What does his return mean for you guys, and what does it say about his character, how hard he worked in making his return?
Russ's return is very good for us. He's a leader in our defense. He's one of our starting safeties, and we just need him back there. His presence alone just gives the defense a good camaraderie, and we listen to him. He makes the calls, and we rock and roll. And he worked really hard to get back here every day, coming to the training room for treatment. So that just shows a lot of his character. He's a great guy, fun to play with, and can't wait to see him this season.
Hey, Anthony, this is from
Sullivan with the Courier Journal. No, go ahead.
All right. Anthony, obviously, you have DBs wise or corners wise, you, Chandler, Marlon, kind of the 3 most experienced guys coming back. Just what has that been like for you guys this offseason, and how much growth have you seen from Chandler and Marlon?
I've seen a lot of growth with us. Having the same position coach 2 years is very good. We've been having a lot of changes here, but having the stability, being able to have that same coach, the same technique, the same playbook really helped us advance in our playbook, really helped us to have an advantage to play faster when we're on the field, make those calls much faster due to the fact that we're in the same system. So I've seen them grow a lot in the playbook and just making more plays due to the fact that everything has basically stayed the same.
Anthony, Tim Sullivan with the Courier Journal. You probably saw that the Pac-12 players have made a list of demands, and now the Big Ten has done the same. There's been reports of players being dissatisfied with the COVID protocols at Colorado State and Eastern Kentucky. Can you give me a sense for what's changed and what today's college football players are looking at in terms of their health and their safety during this pandemic?
I think the biggest concern is just, like you say, they just want to make sure that they're ensured that they are safe and healthy. And like I said here, I feel really safe here with the training staff that we have, the plan that they have implemented, the schedule, the way it's constructed to where we're not mixing too much together. I really feel safe in the plan that they've made, but a lot of those guys, our fear of being sick is the danger of, the disease is something we've never experienced, and guys are just pretty unsure, but we've done a great job building a trust between our training staff that they have the best plan to make sure that we're safe and going to be able to have a healthy season this year.
Yeah, right. But beyond what's going on at Louisville, do you see players being more willing to speak up and maybe to use their power than ever before?
Yes, sir. As far as the demands of that point, we talked to Coach Satterfield with some of the things that we want to implement throughout the year and through the team throughout the different social justice things that are coming up. And I feel like Coach Satterfield and his staff have done a great job of listening to us. We made sure that we have feasible objects and goals, not something that's hard to do, something that's simple. And Coach Satterfield and his staff are taking care of that.
Thank you.
Anthony, this is Ken Spencer with WHAS 11. What are some of the things that you guys want to do this year? What are some of the things that you have told Coach Satterfield about?
I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Say that again.
What are some of the things that you want during the course of the season? What are some of the things that you told Coach Satterfield that you want?
Some of the things we said we wanted was just like we wear the one shirts before pregame workouts. We wanted to have something, representing Black Lives Matters there. We wanted to have something honoring Breonna Taylor since that happened in our home city, Louisville. And we also were thinking about, just having something that could be bought and then giving the proceeds to a charity foundation here in the city of Louisville.
This is Gary Gregg from the AP. So have you all thought about how good you can be this year after kind of surprising everybody last year? And how do you kind of keep that in perspective and not get too far ahead of yourselves?
We just keep that in perspective that, the guys that were here, we all know that we're all very talented, and this staff came and gave us structure and balance, and they led us throughout the way. And we're just staying humble, man. We're out here working out every day. We're going hard, trying to make each other better so that we can have a great season this year. Like they say, the best record wins, gets to go to the ACC championship. So that's what our focus is, just come out here every day, compete, and get better.
Anthony, after your first 3 days, and I know it's been relatively quick, there hadn't been a whole lot of practice, but has any of the newcomers stood out to you so far in your position group?
Oh, for sure. Trey, the transfer from Liberty, he's definitely doing a great job making a lot of plays, catching interceptions. Greedy, Jamie Vance, he's doing a great job being a young guy, knowing the playbook, making plays, as well as Marquis Lowry. Marquis Lowry is doing a great job in one-on-ones, making some plays. So we have a very bright young group, and us older guys are, loving up on them and teaching them the game with the playbook and acclimating them to the system of college football. But I really think we have a really special group this year. A lot of depth.
Anthony, Cameron from Courier Journal again. As a corner group, what do you feel like you guys need to do to take a step forward this year? Because, it looked like last year you guys had some bright spots, but just a little up and down too much for the group.
The biggest thing we need to work on is just eliminating big plays and making the big plays. We want to be the guys that, go take the ball out of the air when they take those deep shots versus giving them up, communicating better in the back end, making sure that we're in the right cause, making sure that the safeties and the corners are on the same page, and just making the plays that we get the opportunities to make. That's the biggest thing we need to do.
How do you know there's a balance between taking a risk to make a play and kind of staying where you're at and making a safe play? How do you know where that balance is, you feel like?
Just knowing the coverage that you're in, if you're in the cloud and you got a safety help over top, you can take a chance on jumping something underneath because you got help over the top. Whereas if you're in man-to-man coverage, if you jump underneath, you're the last guy and he may be able to, go for a touchdown if you miss that tackle. But we just knowing when to take the right gamble, that's really much what it boils down to.
All right, one more for Anthony and we'll wrap up.
Anthony, really quick then, I guess. Bryan had talked a lot about Marlon last year as kind of one of the most athletic guys in the secondary, just kind of had to learn the defense a little bit more. How much has he come along in that aspect, just the mental side of learning the defense in the second year?
He's done a very good job. I see him putting in a lot of effort studying to get to know the playbook. I'm helping him out getting to know the playbook. He's reaching out to different GAs to help him sit down with him and slow the game down to help him get the playbook, and it's shown in his play. He's doing a great job right now during these first 3 days of just knowing to be in the right spot and to make the right plays. So I see a lot of growth going forward with him this year.
All right, we'll wrap it up with that. Thanks, AJ.
All right, thank you guys so much.